Hang on. WrestleZone. That's right. I can still sing right after while I'm swallowing some of my Burger King that just got delivered. Right before we started the show, what's up? We just got off AEW Dynamite, a huge one. Kenta from New Japan made his presence known in an insane main event where he tag teamed with other Bullet Club member against Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk Monster, and John Moxley. We also saw dissension in the ranks with Inner Circle. John Clark, what's the quick and busy stuff coming out of NXT TakeOver? They have Vengance TakeOver on Sunday.
We got ourselves a solid build-up to the pay-per-view coming up live this Sunday night. And it's going to be very good. A very, very, very good card and good show tonight to lead into it.
All right, so you feel the hype for the pay-per-view, right?
Yes.
Now, normally, most weeks, we would go right into AEW first, all right? But I'm catching up on different results. I did watch AEW. I had to tape a really cool podcast. It's coming out in about 2 weeks called Haters and Debaters. So I was doing that while watching AEW. Don't worry, I'm still doing my job, guys. But I do want to get into NXT because they have TakeOver this Sunday. Technically, I think this is like the last but this is the last NXT TakeOver that'll only be on the network before it moves over to Peacock, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So let's get into NXT TakeOver. What were the big what was the big stuff coming on the show?
Yeah, let's get into NXT tonight. Talk a little bit about what was going on. Let's get into the main event right off the bat. I think that would be best because it was the best match of the night. We had two semifinals matches. We're going to cover which one I thought was the better of the two first. We got Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso looking to make their way to the finals against the Grizzled Young Veterans. Me and you were back and forth a few times about who we thought could win this. Now, you haven't seen a lick of NXT, so you probably don't even know who won anything or what went on tonight.
Hey, I'm in the business of knowing spoilers. I can't avoid it. I know.
Well, I know you're going to get spoilers, but I wanted to get your take on who you thought brought home the win tonight in this main event.
I think Grizzled Young Vets are the long-term payoff investment, but this tournament has already had a bunch of different upsets in it, and that's kind of what tournaments are about. They always have a big upset or two. WWE doesn't mind throwing curveballs at people recently. So what happened?
Well, let me say this was a tag team excellence. The Grizzled Young Veterans looked very, very strong. They were definitely shown as the heels in this match. They played it off very well. They could work together as a team moving forward. Even if they were to lose this match, they would still have a good match with Oni and Danny. With that being said, the Grizzled Young Veterans did win. Yes, they're moving on to the finals. It was a good match. I mean, I know you really can't give your opinion on the match because you didn't see it, but you'll watch it later and you'll tell us what you think. But trust me when I say that this was the best match of the night. But before I get your take on that, I just want to counter that with mentioning that there was another semifinal match which opened the show tonight. MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. Real quick, who do you think won that one?
I would think the investment is in MSK, the big signing that they got over from Impact Wrestling. They cut a promo last week and seemed exciting. They have their own vibe, which also does not feel too distant from the Rascals, which was their previous act in Impact Wrestling. I feel the momentum is them. El Legado Fantasma, they're a goon squad for Fantasma. They can take the L.
Yep. So MSK with a very, very strong victory tonight in their match.
I'm pretty good at these predictions.
Lee,
I haven't seen.
Lee and Carter, very talented, even before they came to WWE, and this was just, proving that, that they are definitely the real deal. Both of these teams are really good. I mean, Legado del Fantasma was kind of being like the cruiserweight tag team, but they've proven that they deserve to be more than just that. So let's get your take on what Steven's saying here. We got MSK versus the Grizzled Young Veterans in the finals of the Dusty Classic. What do you think? What do you think happens? And by the way, Stephen Chambers did say next week, but I just want to make clear that it's actually it's going to be this Sunday at Vengeance Day. Go ahead. What do you think?
Hard to call because like within this NXT TakeOver, we're obviously previewing. We end up previewing the big go home angles for this Vengeance Day that they're going for on Sunday. Valentine's Day. What an odd day to run a pay-per-view, right? Hey, baby, what do you want to do? Stay home and watch more wrestling? I did it 4 other days this week. But here we are, and maybe you're a wrestling couple and it works for you. But it's hard to say which of these two men's teams are going to be an investment. I think it would be a really surprising thing if they went with grizzled young vets. I think they would be smarter for the long run. I think the thrill is in the chase. Obviously, it's a tournament, and they've gone with heels winning this tournament before in the past, and it would make this team. Something makes me think MSK doesn't need this as much as grizzled young vets need this, though it looks like you're not agreeing with me, that you think maybe they should keep the rocket on MSK and go with these fun time boys.
So that's what I think's going to happen, but I do agree with you. If I had to pick, I would hope that they finally give the grizzled.
Yeah, we're having some ridiculous comments here. We're having people go at us like crazy in the comments. It's all right. People with different takes on everything here. People also
there's
saying
always
DJ,
somebody.
There's always somebody. DJ says MSK will still win at Takeover. Dakota and Gonzalez as well. Tell me about the women's side of the Dusty Cup. This is the first year they have their own tag team tournament.
So Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon looked very strong tonight against The Way, which is Candice and Indy Hartwell. All 4 women looked very good. This women's final is probably the best matchup I think we could have gotten when looking at the original brackets. And we finally got the official announcement. The winning team will get a women's tag team championship match.
As they should. Like, it would have been really ridiculous if they didn't do that, right?
So what do you think? We talked about the first finals here for the men. What do you think about the women's finals? Who do you got?
Give me that final one more time. I was making sure I got a comment on screen here. Give me that final.
Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon will take on oh no, how did I forget? Boy, oh boy, really?
Boy, oh boy, tech issues, right? You got to make sure you have the results in front of you.
How do I forget that?
I think Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon would be a nice pick.
You're like, let's just go with them because we don't know the other team.
No, but here's the thing: we're
Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez.
Yes, we're having a bit of a tech issue with that. That's all right, man. I think Dakota Kai and Raquel could pay off, like I said, in the longer run because they're not nearly as established. Ember Moon had the run on the main roster. I think more fans know her name, but I don't think she should be in the business of taking the L. I do think that Raquel and Dakota, though, as a team, as a really home-based driven NXT act, they need this win more. They need this win more than Ember does. I always think of who needs it and who would benefit from it more storyline-wise. I think them gloating about having the championship and them maybe even winning those belts and bringing them to NXT would be a lot more compelling. Sometimes those women's belts feel lost on Raw and SmackDown.
The fact that the current champions are heels leads me to believe that Ember and Shotzi will probably win. But who knows?
We have other people saying it'll be Kai and Gonzalez to win all of the women. A lot of people with different takes on that. What other points are we getting here on NXT that lead into this Sunday? This is Sunday, correct?
It's this Sunday. But first, we got to talk about something extremely silly that happened tonight.
What's that?
Cameron Grimes returns to the ring.
We haven't seen him in a long time. When's the last time?
2 months. 2 months. With a slightly modified gimmick. Now, he's still a country boy, but now he is a rich millionaire country boy. How is he a rich millionaire, you say?
How did this happen?
Well, it just so happens that Cameron Grimes recently started to play video games. And it just so happens that he took a trip to GameStop. And it just so happens that he bought a couple stocks of GameStop and hit it big. But that's not it. And then he doesn't like cats. He likes dogs. So he saw, wait a minute, let me buy some dog coins. And guess what? He's hitting it large on that. So he's throwing $100 bills all over the ring. The reinvention was very awkward.
Is he redneck rich? Is he like blowing his money rich?
He
type
showed
of
up in a Lamborghini to the show.
And a brand new Lambo.
So the gimmick that they're running with here is like this excited, I don't know what to do, crazy guy that's just freaking out over everything. I feel like he kind of oversold it a little bit. I hope they already have the payoff planned. Triple H is usually good with this stuff. But what do you think about them? I mean, Cameron Grimes is still this silly character, but now he's a millionaire. Well, what do you think?
I think though, just the way you even described it, and also Cameron Grimes is one of those underrated clown characters in WWE. I think he can do some really, really funny things when he makes the jump to Raw or SmackDown. But this is a segment he can pull off. This is something he can really, really do. This is why I think he's built for WWE, because he can do these type of things and you buy into it. Laura Rock with my favorite comment of the show so far. See if you guys can top this if you're with us live. Laura The Rock says the Billy Ray Cyrus of NXT. Yes. Cameron Grimes has friends in high places, and he's spending their money in the process. Yeah.
If we want to talk about the lead into Sunday, then I think the only thing left that we really will probably want to cover tonight about NXT. And let's not forget that we still have a triple threat women's match, but nothing really happened on the show tonight except a couple promos to develop that. But tonight we got more developments in the Kushida and Johnny Gargano thing, where he's trying to play off that he has a wrist injury, but he clearly doesn't. You need to watch this because the X-rays were of the wrong arm. First of all, it wasn't him.
There's some pretty solid, funny stuff on the show tonight. And I think that's something that NXT needs in comparison. And I have some people already telling me about the Laughing Tap this weekend. Yes, I'm going to be at the Laughing Tap in Milwaukee. You guys can watch it, by the way, Friday and Saturday night, $10, live stream anywhere in the world. It's up on my Twitter. Thank you for the comment on that. People say terrible writing. They thought this was terrible writing. I enjoyed it. So definitely there. Here's the thing. Is this an element that NXT needs? The sports entertainment element. Do they need this more?
I don't think so, because they're known more for wrestling, not promos. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think that's like when you look over at AEW, people say, oh, they're out sports entertaining WWE, and NXT is the most straight up wrestling show on wrestling of the major companies every week now. And so I don't mind it a little bit, especially for NXT. Like it's a fresh shakeup for them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Overall, before we wrap up NXT discussion here, we have a very strong card this Sunday. Very good championship matches on the card. The finals of the Dusty Cup. That's 5 very strong matches. And we got more developments that Karrion Kross will face Santos Escobar next week. That'll be a good match also. I know you didn't get to see it, but what do you think about this Sunday's pay-per-view we're going to see?
I think this should be Kushida's big win. In terms of matches with this pay-per-view and other middle card matches like that, Kushida needs this win over Johnny. Johnny can take the loss, especially if he's chasing it like a chicken shit his heel. You bring up Karrion Kross and Santos Escobar. Interesting that Santos, as a cruiserweight, gets to fight this big monster. Unfortunately, I feel he's being fed to Karrion Kross. There is a long-term plan for Karrion Kross to be a world-beating superstar, I think on a Brock Lesnar level. For WWE.
I don't know.
And I do think maybe the purple and platinum is going to be crushing under the bulldozer.
It's going to be on
future of Karrion.
It's going to be on Karrion Kross's waist. Yeah. 205 Live.
Definitely here. People bringing this up. DJ Caster is saying, so they want to talk about Cora Jade, aka Elena Black. I know her very, very well. She's a great superstar. Came out of Chicago recently.
Oh, brother.
Congratulations to her. She made it to NXT. Doesn't mean you're getting past Xia Li, though. Does not mean you're getting past Xia Li. Xia Li with this very new, very interesting gimmick of basically coming from ancient Chinese mysticism and a black scorpion-esque masked master. Doesn't seem like this match went pretty well, though. Fans telling me Xia Li squashed her
quick. It was certainly fascinating, but I don't know. I just don't know because she's obviously looking really strong and really good, but I don't know where they're going with this right now. It's hard to predict.
I think it's a long term thing here. It's a long term thing to develop a character like this and have a payoff. Look what they did with Bray Wyatt. There's so many people are invested in Bray Wyatt as this supernatural character, and I think maybe NXT kind of wants their own version of that that's slightly different. You know, do you think maybe that's the play here?
Maybe. I think we have to wait and see. It's going to be very interesting, but overall, very good show. And I went with a 7.25 rating, 7.25 tonight.
7.25. I could agree with that as well. Thank you guys so much for you hanging out, enjoying the show. If you haven't done it already, just share the link and pass it on.
People lots of love tonight. Lots
to love. Ray Garza wants to see Cross versus Balor at WrestleMania for the NXT title. I've heard a lot of people say, because WrestleMania is 2 nights, that NXT should be a part of it in some way. What do you think of that? While we're on NXT, we'll cover AEW because AEW had some incredible things tonight.
What are you asking? Say that again. You're asking about WrestleMania?
We're in a little bit of a delay. I think maybe a little bit of delay. You hearing?
No, but you're asking me what I think about including NXT at WrestleMania, correct?
Yeah, there's 2 nights of WrestleMania this year.
I love the idea. I love the idea of us getting Balor versus Cross on the show. I love the idea we might get Demon Balor. I love the idea of what their entrances could be like. I think this is great for NXT. I just worry that if they're playing a takeover close to that, what do they do with regards to that? But overall, I'm all for it. We got the women last year, so.
Some people giving the rating the 1 to 10. We always ask for it on every episode. Some regular viewers giving NXT a 6.6. Some giving it a 7.5. Dog. So what else do we have to cover on NXT before you give it the 1 to 10 rating?
I gave it my rating a 7.25.
7.25. That flew past me here. We're at a little bit of a delay. I'm hearing some of the things you're saying.
It's a crazy night tonight.
Can you hear me okay? You can still hear me all right?
Yeah, you're live. I can hear you live as you're talking.
I'm managing a bunch of different things here.
I'm just giving some credit to Sean Smith here. He knows his stuff. He, just listen to him in the chat. He is accurate with his opinions. He knows his stuff.
Let's get into AEW. Obviously, John Clark, we knew they had some big things this week. The forbidden door was opened last week with Kenta from New Japan Pro Wrestling coming over. On last week's show, we saw contracted wrestlers from Impact Wrestling, the NWA, and obviously AEW all on one show together, which is pretty interesting as AEW is trying to put this cabal together to shift the power and be this kind of like collective alternative to everything WWE. Some exciting stuff. And obviously they have plenty of things they're developing on their own for their upcoming Revolution pay-per-view the first weekend of March. They open the show hot here with Joey Janella versus Darby Allen. This is a banger. These guys go at it like crazy. Darby Allen's doing crazy suicide dives to the top rope. He wins the coffin drop. He did a code red off the top rope. They were doing a pay-per-view level match on TV. This is the best performance Joey Janela's had on AEW in a long, long time. I think even better than his match he had like a month or so ago with Kenny Omega in the main event. And this is a great role for him to be in the opening match. Makes Darby Allen look like a badass going into the upcoming street fight where he'll tag with Sting versus Team Taz. What do you think of Darby Allen? He definitely seems like a strong in-house character for AEW.
Yeah, he definitely has a great creative aspect, good personality. I think that the fact that he's kind of I guess you could say homegrown.
Yeah, a lot of people in AEW came or maybe had a name before they got there because it's a fresh new thing. He was one of those guys that you heard about, but really got the shine in AEW and has a title, has the TNT title, and I do think he's featured in a nice way, and also is developing his own fandom from it. Like, Sting was that for WCW
because of Sting, though. Like that's what I think is just funny, that the fact that Sting is getting this guy. Not that he wasn't big before, but it's like just because he's by his side, he has that much more love and respect now.
Yeah, and it's a good combination. The more I see them together, the more I'm like, this makes sense. You know what I mean? I think if Sting had a son who was small and wanted to take risk and
Little Sting.
Little Stinger, the little Stinger. So they would say that in old WCW back in the 90s. Yeah. We get a promo from Jon Moxley plugging the main event later on in the night. That is him and the Murder Hawk Lance Archer taking on Kenny Omega and the debuting Kenta. Pretty interesting stuff. Oddly, we did not see Jon Moxley take his shirt off tonight. I don't know what that was here. We get Sammy Guevara in the backstage. We have this inner faction drama of the inner circle, okay? And he tells his crew he needs a minute with MJF. Everyone leaves, including Wardlow. They all leave.
Everybody.
And they all leave. And he watched last week, and he knows exactly what MJF, the conniving MJF, is trying to do. He's trying to take over the inner circle, and it's obvious. MJF thinks it's just jealousy.
Where are they going with this?
Well, he says Sammy sarcastically agrees and said MJF said that's exactly what he wanted to hear, and it seemed like he was recording him on his phone. Sammy grabs it and throws the phone at the wall. Here's the thing: when you break someone's phone, you are trying to really mess up their day and their life, right? If you're trying to break someone's phone. I don't know. Maybe
it's like, I got to get off topic for a minute. It's like today where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were celebrating their Super Bowl win with a parade, and they have two wide receivers, and because of COVID, their parade was on boats on the water, and people were watching from the dock. But the one player dropped the other's phone into the water, and it was gone. You saying that made me think of that because it's like
that guy had to buy him a phone.
That
guy had to buy him a phone. As someone who's done tour guide work on boats, we would always tell people, like, listen, you want to take pictures, do not put your phone over the edge of the boat. You just don't want to do it. Like, we're not going to be able to go back and get your phone. It's going to sink. So, yeah, but phone boat safety is a thing here. Continuing on here with AEW here about what's going on with this week's show. I want to get April's comment here on screen. She goes, kudos to Sammy Guevara on AEW Dynamite and finally got some balls on him to leave the inner circle and telling Chris Jericho off, because that's what would happen later on in the night. There was a big tag team match here for them, and they were taking on the Acclaim. It'd be MJF and Chris Jericho. MJF with a hurt gut after Sammy Guevara punched him in the gut. Apparently, he was saying because he got punched in the gut, it was bad. And they claim get their cool entrance where they wrap themselves into the ring. That may really make them kind of stand out, even though it's something we've seen in wrestling before. But They still make it their own. I'm not opposed to it, especially as a tag team. It's different. A lot of shenanigans here. Jake Hager hops up on the top rope and knocks Caster off. Jericho nails him with the Judas effect for the win. So MJF and Jericho still get the win here, but Sammy Guevara is not having it, because in the post match he comes out, gets on the mic, and says he's done. And he says he quits the inner circle. The former members are shocked as he walks off, and MJF grins. This has been a 5-month plus long build. A recent interview with Chris Jericho, he talked about how this has been going on for 5 months. And I was surprised because this was getting a little long on the tooth for me, but I didn't know it had been going on for 5 months. Can you even imagine?
5 months.
It's a long time. It's a long time in modern wrestling. Yeah, but definitely fans are feeling the idea of Sammy Guevara turning on the inner circle. What do you think of this year?
Is it too soon? I don't think so, but people are going to say that, It's never the perfect time. So why not now? Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
Definitely, I get what you're saying here. So here's the thing. I do think they got to pay this off in a special way. They got to make this count, and they got to make this into something that plays into more players. I get what they're going for, but at the same time, it's, how do I put it? How do you not have someone get lost in this thing with 7 guys? Someone's bound to get lost in the mix with this, there's so many guys in the faction. But maybe that's not the point. Not everyone needs to be featured at the same time, right?
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense to me. I just, like I said, it's never the perfect time to make a move. So,
so as things move on here, we're getting into other matches on the card. And I'm trying to deal with the chat and everything like that too. So as we're rolling, as we're rolling ahead here, we get more of Matt Hardy getting Adam Hangman Page drunk. Get him drunk. Didn't like that. He's a negative influence. Don't know where that's going. Maybe that turns into something. But if it develops into a singles match, I could be into that idea. We also got a vignette of Kenny Omega golfing. I thought he played video games. Yeah, they interviewed him golfing, talking about the main event. He's definitely far from.
Wait, you need to tell me more about this because as a golfer, I need to know what's going on.
I don't think he had a good game. He was in the sand trap, so he's playing himself out of the sand trap. I know you're a big golf fan here. I don't know what his par was, but it was a pretty funny segment. Alex Marvez wanted to interview him, and he just wasn't having it. And Kenny was not happy about it. And he says golfing is helping him prepare mentally and spiritually. And then he said goodbye, good night. And Kenny cheated at an eagle shot, by the way. So he cheated in golf.
This sounds like, didn't WWE do this when the Street Profits were doing their thing with the War Raiders? Or
I think they did something like that. Yeah, for sure. I think they did something like that. Yeah, definitely here. So as things roll ahead here, we get more of AEW developing their women's division. I thought this is great. I thought Layla Hirsch is a very, very strong competitor for them. Someone I didn't know about until I saw her in AEW. And she got in the ring here with Thunder Rosa, and they kicked each other's ass. I know they really built up to the match last week with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. And Thunder Rosa was cheated out of the win. So she got a big win back here in a competitive match. Layla Hirsch, she's okay. I think she can bounce back from this in the future. And Thunder Rosa advances in the Phenomenal 15 tournament in the American bracket. They will have an entire bracket for the Joshi Superstars.
When are they planning on doing the finals for this? Is there a date yet?
I don't know if it could line up where they could do it. I mean, because they have Dark too. They have AEW Dark, and an entire bracket of this could be going down in Japan. And a lot of those superstars that they're talking about are wrestling for Stardom, which is a promotion owned by New Japan Pro Wrestling, an all-female promotion. So I think we'll have a better idea of that in the weeks to come. So definitely there. Other highlights we want to talk about and cover here before we get to the final match.
I'm surprised we're this far into talking about the show, and you have yet to mention the Forbidden Door.
We'll talk about the Forbidden Door because we're going to get to the Forbidden Door here at the end of the show here. Next week, the Young Bucks, the AEW World Champions, are on the line against contenders Santana and Ortiz. That'll be interesting. That was teased with some backstage promery. We have the Nightmare Family, which is Cody Rhodes' training school, and he has his own kind of, I guess it's going to be like their own feeder program, if you will. And Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson, a new member of the Nightmare Family, are tagging, and they take on Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. And Lee Johnson picks up the win and gets featured here. And I was surprised that Cody, one of the top guys in the company, really sets up a big thing here. And this is Lee Johnson's first win of his career. He rolls up Peter Avalon, an established guy. Good for him. Maybe trying to create something new out of this. And I'll see what this gets to with, we're a couple weeks away from, the big collision between Cody and Shaq and a mixed tag team in a few weeks, which should be a bigger deal, but it isn't. It really, really isn't.
1.5 million.
Yeah. Maybe they're going to shoot for that. Maybe they're going to shoot for that for sure. Let's get to the main event, though. This was the one that was built up. This is the debut of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Kenta, formerly known as Hideo Itami in WWE NXT. And this is a wild match. This is a no DQ, falls count anywhere match, a match that went to so many different parts of Daily's Place that they had to play highlights as the guys made their way back to the ring. This was nuts. Kenta and Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley and Lance Archer. They did, someone got hit with a sack of potatoes in the kitchen. Someone got slammed into a Coke machine. There were Snapdragon suplexes. There were garbage cans. Someone went through Peter Avalon's velvet taped off area. Jon Moxley went to go hit Kenny Omega with a kendo stick off the top rope, only to take a V trigger. A Archer gets lifted with a one-wing angel and takes a dirty pinfall as the Good Brothers got involved. Of course, it is a, DQ finish. And the Bullet Club guys in Japan always run in and cost people matches. They're the new NWO, right? Of
course they do.
Yeah. It did kind of take the ending, but I didn't really care because the ride to get there was so much fun. It was such a strong match. Really, really enjoyed this, and a great display of Kenta's ruthlessness. he gave a GTS to Peter Avalon just for like being in his way, and he looked like a badass. And this is right. You got to chase the heels into the pay-per-view, right?
Yeah,
Makes
I
sense.
agree.
Makes complete sense. So I'm gonna go with a solid 7.5 out of 10 on this week's AEW Dynamite. 7.5. Get those dogs barking, dude. Get those dogs barking for sure. On this week's AEW Dynamite. Let me know what you guys are thinking here about what's going on with AEW and what they're building to here. DJ, who's always with us, Kevin, John. My AEW question is that I'm really high on thinking that the Dark Order's Anna Jay is going to go through the tournament. I do think Anna Jay in AEW needs a bright future. They need to create something special out of her. And I think there's more of a future with her than Ty Conti, who's the other member of Dark Order, that faction. I do think this tournament needs to make new stars. Other people agreeing with me with this week's impact here. They also want to talk about Pac. He was in action against Nemeth, of course, Dolph Ziggler's brother. Made quick work of him here. No, fine match. Nothing super big to talk about. Other questions kind of throwing in here. Other people enjoying Thunder Rosa. They think she's the pick to win the tournament here. Comment coming in here is though, even though Darby Allen kept his title, Tax crossed the line and did him even. Taz crossed the line. You said tax. That threw me off here. It's tax season. I got to pay that bill. He goes, Taz crossed the line for what he did to him, even showing up on live Sting. We did get Sting tonight, but it was just more of a simple, tease to the pay-per-view.
That's what we can expect out of Sting every time, though, I would think.
I know. They got to figure something else out to do with Sting. Maybe film vignettes, do something cinematic with him to spruce it up. Just him in the ring cutting promo should be a bigger deal, but it isn't nearly a big a deal as it should be here. Other people with their ratings on this week's AEW, pretty positive. It looks like we had another great night of wrestling, dude. Looks like we had a really solid night of wrestling on both channels here. Some people giving 7.5s to NXT, some 8 points to what's going on with them as well here. More people chiming in here across the board. People just really like the idea that Sammy Guevara cut loose from Dark Order, or excuse me, Inner Circle here. They also thought Steven Chambers, Darby Allen, and Janella may have had a better match tonight than Kenta and Kenny Omega and John Moxley and Lance Archer. So it's hard to choose which match was better here. So that's kind of a choice as well. I do think ratings are kind of irrelevant. I wonder what changes are going to happen with NXT and this whole USA Network deal, where that's going to go. We don't have any concrete direction on that, though WWE is saying that they feel for sure that the show is going to stay on Wednesday nights. So the Wednesday Night War will continue. That is the word we got from WWE executive Nick Khan last week. What do you think of WWE staying on Wednesdays, staying in this fight?
Oh man, I don't know. The smart play would probably be to give them the upper hand. I mean, what do you think?
To give AEW the upper hand and kind of let them go on their own?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a smart play in the long run. I mean, that's why NXT is there. It's to keep, AEW below a certain window of rating windows and kind of cut off the end there. And it could be, I mean, AEW is already on the cusp of doing some really, really big things. I do think they're going to have live audiences when live audiences can come back. WWE will too. Like, that's kind of irrelevant. There's going to be a pent-up demand for live entertainment like crazy, by the way. It's going to be so crazy. Also, another day that goes by, John Clark, where you have your plane ticket and your rental car for Tampa, Florida, but you have no idea when these WrestleMania tickets are going on sale.
It's funny you say that, because I probably spend 30 minutes on average at work a day just simply looking this up and trying to get information.
And there's no one talking to you.
Well, I try to find, information of some sort, just to get my hopes up.
Like, what if the worst thing happens and they just randomly say tickets are going on sale in like an hour and you're at work, or no, you work from home. Do you work from home or no?
No, I don't, but I would see it. Trust me.
Oh, dude, you would be ready for it. You would be ready for it for sure. Huh?
I'm ready for it.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll be definitely a mad dash to get tickets for this when people can. It'll be really, really crazy for people to get tickets to this when they can get them. And I think there's gonna be some people upset that they didn't get tickets for this. There's some people that are really, really gonna be upset about what happens to them and how they get left out of the process, So I would hope that if you're a fan trying to get tickets for this, that you understand they're just not easy, and these aren't going to be easy to come by at all. It's not going to be easy to get tickets to anything with WWE in Tampa that week, and there ain't going to be a fan access thing. There isn't going to be a Hall of Fame, as far as I know. So hang in there. They're doing 2 nights at WWE, so this is going to be an interesting scenario here.
You're right, James. You're right.
Yeah. So people said New York to get live entertainment similar to what they did for the Bills games. Well, yeah, I can say this. Whatever you saw with the Super Bowl is a good indication of what WrestleMania is going to look like. It's something we kind of know. WWE already going on the record saying they're going to take some cues from the NFL and how they ran the Super Bowl and how that went and see what things can happen there. And so there's a lot of development here in terms of what WWE can do to make this work. And from what we know, they're going to try and make this work as much as they can. People are going to wear their masks and do their part and power through. All right. So just like we're doing, we're powering through. We got a bunch of content for you, by the way. We're dropping a brand new show. All right. How are you for fantasy booking, John Clark? How do you like yourself in fantasy booking?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. Have you ever taken like a whole card out, said, I'm going to redo that card. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing better than them. I could rebook this whole card. What if we rebooked all of WCW from 1997 on? That's what we're doing with WCW rewritten. Some really great WCW Revenge and Nintendo 64 graphics on this. And this is premiering tomorrow on our podcast feed, starting from Starrcade 1997. It'll also be available on YouTube and Facebook Watch if you guys want to check it out. I'm looking forward to that. The D'Angelo brothers going to run that down. If you're an AEW fan, we have even more AEW coverage with 2 Dynamite Dudes and Attitudes that drops on Friday or Saturday. So we have a podcast like almost every day of the week. And then you and I are going to have a live stream on on Sunday night after NXT Takeover. And we're going to probably have some upset girlfriends in the process, aren't we?
You make
Yeah, we're going to have some upset girlfriends in the process.
You make happiness in the daytime, so then in the nighttime there's no frustration.
You were trying to find a way to say, like, we're going to do it in the day. I'm just going to tell her we're done. Like, Valentine's is done at 6 p.m. Eastern. Like, so I just got to run to the other room and watch wrestling and somehow defend that behavior to you, So, yeah, dude, we know what's going on. Listen. If you're watching the show live, I know what's going on, and I don't give a shit. Okay, if you're watching the show and you're listening to the podcast, I really, really don't care. And I don't feel a threat from people that want to come and watch my live stream and talk crap. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with people who want to do that during the show? It's such a ridiculous thing for people to be angry that we didn't put their comment on screen and they're going to call us names. Oh, is that what you're going to do? Come on now. Like, really, grow a pair. And once you grow a pair, see if you have a backbone as well. This is so ridiculous. And I'm disappointed in some members of humanity. I don't know if they're breathing air, but they're probably huffing something else if this is how they want to spend their time. So good on them. Let's get into other wrestling news of the day before we get out of here. Strong episode all around the corner on the different setups here for NXT and AEW. But have you seen what Ring of Honor has been doing, John Clark? They've been on a signing spree like crazy, haven't they? Mm-hmm. They have locked in a lot of their established big name talent. And today, news coming out that Ring of Honor has signed new deals with their current Ring of Honor World Champion Roosh and his brother Dragon Lee, who's the Ring of Honor Television Champion, along with their dad Bestia Del Ring. We can exclusively report at WrestleZone.com of the terms and some details about the deal for Roosh, and that it allows him to have outside merchandise, which
Really?
many other people in WWE, or excuse me, in Ring of Honor get to do here. So it's a pretty unique deal for him. He has that with Mass Republic. We appreciate some insight on that scenario. And you can read that story now at WrestleZone.com. We also have, of course, everything going on with this week's Dynamite and NXT, if you're just getting caught up here. Impact has announced they're going to do a new pre-show every week called Before the Impact, BTI. Sounds like a very sports-oriented show. Like, you always have to have like 3 initials to be like a sports-oriented show. And of course, we'll have the latest heading into Sunday's NXT Takeover Vengeance. And then Saturday night, we just did a big pre-show preview for the upcoming Impact pay-per-view, No Surrender. Tommy Dreamer, a 50-year-old man, is going to challenge for the Impact World title. And let me tell you, they've done a great job of making this match in a few weeks seem really important and really, really compelling. And I'm rooting for Tommy Dreamer to win this belt. I want him to pull off a George Foreman. You're not feeling it. Why?
Pull off the Goldberg.
Pull off a Goldberg. Old guys. Yes. Yeah, I'm all about it, man. So I'm pretty busy as well. This weekend, I will be in Milwaukee, socially distant at the Laughing Tap. We will have live people there, but they will be away from the stage. Everyone will be masked up, and you can watch it wherever you want. I'll be performing live comedy from laughingtap.com. Get your tickets at 8 p.m. Central. It's $10. $10. You can watch anywhere in the world. And then we just added a second show on Saturday. So if you want to watch after the pay-per-view, after No Surrender, we're going to be live at 10:15 p.m. Central. So Friday and Saturday 8, as well as Saturday night at 10:15. So if you don't want to Saturday Night Live, you can watch this. $10. Support great comedy as well. I'm going to be performing with the great Rena Calm. Yes, I will do jokes about wrestling, so it'll be really, really fun. Details about that on my Twitter at Kev Kellum. John Clark, if they want to follow you on the Twitter machine, where do they go?
John R. Clark 12.
Yeah, so of course, follow WrestleZone. If you're not doing it already, follow WrestleZone and let us know what's going on here. Yes, Old Milwaukee. I'm gonna be drinking some Old Milwaukee in Milwaukee, which is kind of on the nose. Maybe I'll drink a PBR. All right. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. I'm gonna eat that cheeseburger, maybe heat it up. I started it with the beginning of the show. We've been doing the show here for 42 minutes, so maybe it's getting a little bit cold here. But thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Thank you so much for checking out everything we're doing. And remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important thing. Tell them what you got to do, John.